Good morning. I'm getting ready to do a quick demonstration. I've had a lot of questions about different magazines you can use to do an ink transfer on beeswax. So I'm quickly going to run through like Architectural Digest. I've got a magazine called Watch. I got the East Nashvilleian, Fall. I've got El Decor, and I also have different, like Architectural Digest, I have different years of it. So I want to see if there's a big difference in the way the transfer works from like 2014 compared to 2017. So I'm gonna do that demonstration. I'm getting ready to switch the camera down. We'll try to make this kind of quick. While I'm at it, I'll show you guys the camera right. I'm going to show you how I smooth the wax. Got my little tool. Get that ready. And I'm going to do just a real fast transfer. I'm not doing anything technical. I'm not going for looks. I just want to see how it works. So this one's going to be spa. I've already tore a page out on each one, so I could have a sample that's similar in the. Yeah, I'm just going to do one. I'll put this back in here. Do one block of color on each one. Put the color face down. Burnish it in with the block. A little more light in here. Ooh, not too much. There we go. Sand it with the 150 grit sandpaper. Get my wet rag, wipe off the dust, and then we'll put some water on it. I noticed in somebody shared a video, one of my friends, they was doing their transfers and one of them didn't use enough water and hers was rolling off. The paper needs to be really wet, and the reason I go around real soft is to make sure it's pulping up before I start pushing into it. And then Amy's husband Ken, he was pushing real light the whole way and he was rolling his up so that the ink wasn't sticking to the wax. So once it gets good and wet, just push through. Oh, that's some good color right there. All right, so New Beauty Spa Plus is a go. I'm gonna set each one off. So colors, nice, vibrant. I tried to pick red on most all of these. I'm gonna set that to the side. I'm just gonna go one after the next. All right, so next I'm doing the East Nashvilleian. I know a lot of you won't have this one, but I'm gonna do it for those locals that are on the list. I got quite a few people from, oops, drop that one, here in Nashville. So this is an easy thing to pick up. I'm gonna smooth my wax out. These panels I just put the wax on yesterday, so I hadn't had a chance to smooth them out. So I'm gonna do that. Same thing. Just gonna burnish this in. And I know I'm trying to keep you guys from trying too many things on your first round of trying this process. I just want you to go through the technique of the transfer. That's why I've limited you with such a small amount of magazine paper. I wanted you to just force yourself to go through the process of doing the transfer, not worry about the end results. I know, especially some of my artist friends, you want to do something amazing, but I don't want you to have that pressure the first time around. Spray plenty of water. I mean, it should be puddled up on there. You want that paper to turn into a pulp before you rub it off. If it still looks like paper and not pulp, then you ain't got it wet enough. Rub it. Uh-oh. Okay, Nashvilleian will transfer, but looks like the ink is super thin. See that scratch just from my pressure on it. So the ink's not as good a quality on the East Nashvilleian. It will work, but it's not ideal. So we're going to set that one as a not so good. All right. I don't know. I get magazines. My wife's hairdresser sends them home, so I save them. Some of them I can use, and there are times like that East Nashvilleian didn't transfer great, but it did transfer some color. So if I'm looking for a particular color, I could grab that magazine. Just be careful if I know I'm using it and not push as hard or do something a little different, trying to play with it and make sure that I'm getting a full transfer, even though the color wasn't that great. It would work in a pinch. Okay, watch magazine. Some good colors in it. The ink, the paper's thin. The ink doesn't look too bad. We'll see what it does. I'm gonna put a little sand in on it. I'm trying to knock all these out as fast as possible because this is right before our 10 o'clock meeting. And I figured if I had this done, I could post it. Then after class, you could be watching. Oh, and I'll talk about it too in the class, of course. Pulp, 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 plenty of water. All right, I'm gonna push a little harder now. Oh, that's not bad. I know it's gonna be hard to see from your view in the camera, but that color's good. And of course, I guess it was a bright color on the thing. See, it's got a little scratchiness, but it also had some light areas in her gown that are going to look like scratches. So I'm going to give that one a go. Watch. Yeah, that worked pretty good. Okay. I had such a clean work area earlier. Doing this fast stuff. Change that. All right, next I'm going to do Architectural Digest. I'm going to go back to 2012. I noticed in past paintings when I was working, I had Architectural Digest from early 2000. So I was learning the hard way. I was putting them in paintings because I thought all magazines were going to be the same. I learned the hard way that they're not. The older magazines I would get, the transfer wasn't near as good. I thought I had my... And by the way, the covers of magazines do not work. You don't want to use those. That thing, even though that color looks perfect, what I'm looking for right here, and I can't find any red, so I'm gonna have to settle. So let's do this blue. Blue's a good thing to transfer. I'm actually gonna do two. I had this brownish color picked out, so I'm gonna do it and the blue and see how those look side by side. Could be interesting. And some, I already scraped that, so it's smooth. Put our paper down, burnish it in. The great thing about doing tests like this, if you get to set up to do your own beeswax on your panels, I can scrape away the ink and put another layer of wax on top of what little bit of wax is going to be left after I scrape off this test block and reuse it. That's why I like working on these small panels. It's just scrap plywood I've had in my garage for a long time, so I'm not out any money, just the time to cut them. Okay, we're going to put plenty of water on here. So this magazine was 7 years old. So yeah, between 6 and 7 years old. And I can tell by rubbing it that it doesn't feel great. It's not It's not soaking in. There it goes. Just taking a little longer. And as you play with different ones, if you continue doing this process, you will learn. Some magazines, the paper makes a difference, and it's a little harder to release the ink from the paper. This is one of those cases. Yeah, here's what happens on the older magazines. The paper will come off to a certain point, but you're stuck with a layer, and I may be able to get some of that. See that haze? Yeah, that's what a lot of magazines that I don't use, that's why you can't get that off without really working. So I got a really wet rag here, and I'm pushing a little harder than I normally would because I know I'm gonna have to. Oh, it's actually gonna work. Okay, for small paintings, if you know, like these little panels, you can get away with this one. That's some pretty good color. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit, make sure it doesn't haze back over. Sometimes they'll get that pulp coming back like on the edges. I don't know if you can really tell it in that camera shot. All right, the 2012 Architectural Digest is a go. A little bit of work, but it did work. A little more elbow grease, I guess I should say. All right, let's just, if that one works, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be good on 2014. Look at these reds. You don't see those colors that much anymore, not in Architectural Digest. Yeah, it seems like in the last 4 or 5 years they're not quite as bold in their coloring. All right, so the panels are actually pretty smooth. When you're putting wax on something this small, you can't even see the brush strokes. It's probably get away with that, not even scraping it, but I do it just in case. Varnish it, sand it. Okay, wipe it, dust off, and spray it again. Yeah, this one, it's funny, I've done this enough. I noticed the similarity of this one in the 2012. Yeah, it's not, the paper's not soaking up the water right away. It's going though. Okay, see, I got good pulp. There's no, doesn't look like paper no more. That's what it's got to look like before you start rubbing it. Yeah, this one's going to be exactly the same as 2012. You know, I think it's the age of the ink, not the type of ink they used at that time. I think it's the same ink they use now. I just think these magazines, as they get older, it's hard to get that to release that pulp. Age has a lot to do with it. But boy, look at that red. That's awesome. All right, Architectural Digest, back to 2012, we know is good. All right, let's see, I got El Decor. El Decor, this is 2019, so it's not that old. I've been using it occasionally on and off when I have to have certain colors. So here we go. We're gonna do this little block here. It was weird doing this little test thing. I feel like I'm doing one of those product testing things on a GSN or something. Let's see how this works. All right, burnish. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget a step. Hard talking. Work. Okay. Sanded. Now, El Decor and El magazine, the the fashion magazine, also named Elle. They're similar. I've used especially the fashion magazine a bit when I'm doing a portrait, a human figure, to get those skin tones. But again, it's that thin paper. The ink quality is not the best. It will transfer. It's one that you have to be a little more careful when you're pushing to rub the paper off. Let it soak good. Got to keep it really, really wet. And I'm going to push about half as hard as I do when I'm doing a veranda magazine on this one, just because I know the consistency of this ink. So I'm pushing harder than it looks, but not as hard as I would normally. And when I'm doing a larger painting, I like to stay with the same magazines for that reason. If I put some reds from Veranda on top or right next to some reds from El Decor, I'm likely going to push too hard on the El Decor one and end up scratching a lot of the ink off. But man, look, that worked pretty good. I like it. Okay. El Decor, good to go. Let's see, I got time to do a couple more. I have a men's fitness. Let's try this bad boy out. Got men's fitness, and then I think one more that we'll try. So if you're at home and you haven't started your working on your 2 blocks I sent you, and you have something to, I won't tell you not to do it, but if you must, you want to try a sample on something like this, do a small piece on the corner or something like that, and then take either, if you have a scraper of some sort, I was going to show you a razor blade, like a razor blade like this. I know this thing comes out of here. It's supposed to be easy. Oh. All right, so if you got a razor blade like this, after you do your transfer, you can take it and do the same thing I'm doing with this. You just scrape off a thin layer. All right, back to Men's Health. I don't know that I've ever tried Men's Health, so it feels about the same as El Decor as far as the paper and the ink. Yeah, same thickness. A lot of these are probably printed at the same place. Yeah, man. Lightly sand. Wipe off the dust. Spray it. Yeah, I'm gonna treat this one like I did the El Decor. I'm gonna go a little softer rub. Yeah, this reminds me. This is from 2017. The way the water's soaking into the paper reminds me of the Architectural Digest from 2012 and 14. It's doing it. I'm trying not to. Yeah, look, not a good transfer. A lot of washy areas. And I think that's just the quality of the ink or the thickness of the ink on the paper, maybe. I need to talk to somebody that prints magazines. Forgot why there's a difference in how this works. So, Men's Fitness, I would say no. I lost way too much color from that. That page is pretty good, vibrant, but that transfer is kind of about halfway there. Not a fan of that one. Okay, I found a magazine called In Focus. I think this is a Nashville-based magazine, and because I'm curious, I'm going to get a little bit of the dark and the regular red. I don't know if you saw that. In Focus. It's kind of like a interior design or something magazine. All right. Oh, I was going to show you. If you do a test and you want to reuse this block, all you got to do, if you got a thick enough layer, and that's those layers I put on these blocks are pretty thin, so you may not, but you can scrape away that ink. Such a thin layer on top of that wax. Just take a razor and go back and forth. Don't push very hard, just enough to scrape that thin layer off and reuse it. That's what I'm gonna do. Since that other one didn't work, double demo on this one. Okay, sand it. My sandpaper is getting real thin. I didn't stock up on sandpaper before this project, so I'm running a little low, so I'm reusing as much as I can. Having to mail out in those kits 100 pieces of sandpaper kind of ate up my supply. Not that I gave a bunch, but I just did have a lot in my inventory. Spray it good. Rub it. Okay. This is feeling more like the veranda. It's thick paper. It's not quite as glossy as veranda. All right, I'm gonna just go all in. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I'll give that a go. It's a little scratchy. The color's not super vibrant, but it's bold enough to where it would work in a painting. Not too shabby. All right, in focus is approved. All right, that's all I'm gonna do for now. I think I proved my point. All right, so we're going to there. Thanks for watching. Now you know some magazines. If you have others you want to try or you want to ask me about, please do. Like I said, I get magazines from all over the place. People know what I do, so they're always asking if I can use certain ones. I've tried the majority of them. Some of them it's been a while, but still, let me know if you have any questions. Hope you enjoy your project, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Thanks. Yeah, we are